What's up, Raiders? It's your boy Groovinator with more Marvel comic book ass news for you today. X-Men producers says Channing Tatum was born to play Gambit. Okay, sure. If you say so, I'll believe it. The Gambit movie had apparently a very hard time getting off the ground, and Fox even ended up merging with Disney before the film could get started. For now, Disney is making a big evaluation of which Fox projects they should move forward with. And X-Men producer Simon Kinberg still thinks a Gambit should be made. Talking to Variety, Kinberg talks about Channing Tatum and how he would be the perfect to play the role of the Raging Cajun. Raging Cajun? Raging Cajun. Kinberg explains, I would love to see Gambit happen. I love the idea of Channing playing Gambit. I think we have a great script for it. I think it's a role he was born to play. It's a character I grew up loving, and I know the fans love it, so I hope it will happen. Before Disney acquired Fox, the studio was actually working on more experimental takes on the X franchise, with Deadpool bordering on R-rated territory. The New Mutants would have been horror, and Gambit was going to be I butchered that sentence. And Gambit was going to be from the romantic comedy genre. Romantic comedy genre. Okay. Apparently the movie was already set up to go, but after the dismal reception of Fan Four Stick, production was asked by the studio to lessen the budget. From that point, the movie has been having a hard time getting off the ground. While I personally think that Gambit is a character that best works with an ensemble, this romantic comedy take on the superhero genre does sound a bit interesting. With the MCU yet to establish mutants, though, I think it will be a while before we can get spin-off films like X-Force and Kitty Pryde. Hopefully Marvel is willing to be more experimental moving on to Phase 4, because as of now, despite all the hype surrounding Avengers Endgame, people are starting to call the MCU films formulaic. I mean, even the DCEU has taken a risk with a spin-off like the Joker. Try something new, Marvel. Kinberg's X-Men Dark Phoenix is set to come out June 7th, and nobody cares. No, I'm just kidding. What do I want to say about this? Okay, from the limited comics that I read, X-Men was not one of them. So when the first two X-Men movies came out, I liked them. The only information that I knew about the X-Men was the information that friends of mine who did read the X-Men gave to me before those movies came out. I knew a little bit about Wolverine. I knew a little bit about Cyclops and Professor X, and that was it. I really didn't know any of the other characters. Gambit, I don't know anything about. I didn't watch the cartoons growing up. Sorry, comic books wasn't one of my main things. You know, I was more into Punisher and Spider-Man. So X-Men was just out of my wheelhouse. I don't really have anything against Channing Tatum. The movies that I've seen him in are not the greatest of movies, so I can't really judge the guy based on those performances. I've seen him in the 2 G.I. Joe movies, and he had a small part in a couple other movies where I was just like, okay, well, there he is and there he goes. But yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about this? I do think it's a shame, though, that this character had to suffer based on Fan Four Stick. I mean, doesn't that suck? You have a movie and you make a movie and then that movie blows it. So then the better movie that was behind it suffers as a result of the movie that was before it. Isn't it shitty how the way things work in Hollywood? It's so depressing, isn't it? Fan Four Stick is a depressing movie just based on it. Maybe could have been good, but it just absolutely wasn't in any way, shape, or form. I do agree, though, that the Avengers movies are getting a bit formulaic. Me personally, I'm just kind of tired of superhero movies, man. I have no expectations. The characters that I used to read, they've already been made into movies or TV shows already. Some of them good, some of them bad, some of them both. Don't really need any more of them. You know, I think what I really miss are like the big action movies that we used to have in the 80s with, lots of guns and explosions and quips and crazy one-liners. I want things to get kind of like exaggerated and fun again. You know what I mean? I think maybe the closest thing that's been to that is maybe the Fast and Furious movies. I don't know. I mean, it just seems like everybody's trying to copy Marvel, and that's pretty much been the dominating force for the past 10 years. it needs to move into a little bit more experimental. And they tried to resurrect Star Wars, and they kind of blew that too, didn't they? So I want to see more movies like Mad Max Fury Road, okay? That was seriously the last movie I saw in a theater that really blew my mind. I mean, it was just so freaking hyper awesome. I mean, that was just like, whoa, I was so glad I saw that in the theater. I saw it in an IMAX. I had a seat that moved around. I mean, and then even watching it on my TV at home, every time I watch it, it's a complete rush. It's a very simple story, but damn it, it's done so well. I want more of that kind of stuff. I don't need any more dudes running around in costumes. Would I see a Gambit movie? Yeah, sure. But like I said, I don't really follow the comics, the cartoons, so I don't really have any backdrop to compare it to. I know a lot of people say that the X-Men movies were way off the mark, and okay, like I said, the first two movies were fine. Everything after that just kind of got progressively worse, I think, but those first two were pretty good. I have them in my Blu-ray collection. I don't have any of the other ones. I enjoyed those. I, for the most part, enjoyed First Class and X-Men First Class, and what was the one after that? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. They made so many of them, I've lost track. So, yeah, even if I did want to research these superheroes, if I went into a comic book store, I probably wouldn't find the comics that I need to read, because the comic book stores are falling apart. I mean, the comics aren't very good. Last couple times I went to the comic book stores, I'm trying to find a number one of anything, and everything always starts at 4, 5, and 6, or 17 and up. I can't go back. I can't, like, for example, when Batman came out, like the original Tim Burton Batman, I didn't read Batman comics at all at that point. I think I was about 14 or 15 when Batman came out. I went to a comic book store and I bought like a book. It was like a collection of Batman's greatest hits. And I sat and I read them all, and it was great. I want more stuff like that. I want, like, what do they call that? An omnibus? Is that when you combine a bunch of comic or graphic novel, or I don't know, whatever you call it, when you just take a bunch of the best stuff and put it in one book and you can kind of read through so you at least know a little bit about what's going on. But then again, I don't really feel all that compelled to want to know what's going on, because the movies are going to tell me, and I like to judge a movie as a movie, not as the comic that came before it, not as external information. That's just how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it? Leave a comment down below. Do you want to see a Gambit movie? Do you like the way the direction the MCU is going in? Let's get a conversation going. You guys make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you tell other people about my channel. You guys have yourselves a groovy day. And this is the Groovinator signing out. Peace.